Hey, well, welcome to the Kings of Monaco. This is 4 of just childhood best friends getting together to share our lives with you. We've recorded a couple of episodes already. And so the purpose of this is just to kind of capture our lives, to capture the history of our friendship, talk about how we grew up, talk about modern events, laugh, kind of make fun of each other every once in a while, and hopefully entertain you and leave somewhat of a legacy of the friendship that we've had for more than 40 years now. And so thank you for listening. We're going to have some fun today. We talked about a couple of topics. We want to talk about the Super Bowl is coming up this weekend, and some music, right? Usher's going to be headlining, maybe some music influences in our lives. But how are you guys doing?
Good, man. Good. It's definitely good to be with all you guys. And, the podcast right now are definitely hop and hip. So that's definitely us to be on key and get this thing going for
sure. That's a true Gen X speaking right there.
Right? Hop and hip.
Hop and hip.
All fresh.
Man.
Ways out, bro.
Yeah, guys, I'm excited. It is Super Bowl week. I don't know if you guys, I'm not too excited about the Broncos. Of course, I'm wearing my Broncos, because got to represent, got to represent our, even though we're not the greatest right now, but still, it's who we are. We're all from Denver, and we're just representing those Broncos, But I'm super excited about just seeing a great game. There's so much correlation with the 49ers to the Denver Broncos this year, and that's why I'm not the only reason why I'm choosing the 49ers over the Kansas City Chiefs, because you never cheer for somebody in your same division, right?
No, you never. Especially Chiefs. Hello.
Yeah, especially. But so you got Eddie McCaffrey, Christian McCaffrey, right?
Yep.
And then we got Kyle Shanahan, father Mike Shanahan. And then I don't know if you guys knew this, but Brian Griese is actually the quarterback's coach for the
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So Brian Griese,
somebody did some research.
And come on. John Lynch is the general manager.
And of course, John Lynch.
Oh, yeah, general manager.
So what more can you have a reason to not cheer for them, So let's go 49ers this year.
One thing I'm excited about.
Nobody's doing the clap track.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
One thing I'm excited about, though, honestly, for real, like being a Bronco fan and everything, is that it's in Las Vegas, and they have the whole entire stadium decorated with San Francisco 49ers and Kansas City Chiefs, dude. Like they're definite rivals. And I'm so excited to when it comes out on one end zone, it's going to say Kansas City, and the other end zone, it's going to say San Francisco in the Raider Stadium, dude, just to like stick.
Just because it's the Raiders Stadium.
Anything else, dude?
We love the Raiders so much.
So I'm sure you guys have, unless you've lived under a rock, the sphere that is there now in Las Vegas. Have you seen they put the helmet actually on the sphere?
Yeah.
So cool. I mean, that if I'm going to go to Las Vegas, that's the first place I'm going to go visit.
Is it the video? Is it a video of the helmet, or is it an actual helmet?
No, it's a video representation. Everything on that.
Where's the?
It's so funny. It's not as
What kind of question was that,
dude? You cannot get through that sound every time I talk, dude.
When you drop bombs, then we'll play a different sound. All right, who's doing that?
That's me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No. No, Carlos, it's not. It's a video representation of the helmet on the exterior part of the sphere.
It's a giant LED.
Well, because Vicente said the actual helmet.
Yeah.
So I took that to be a literal helmet.
Yeah, they airdrop these huge helmets.
Different than the helmet you wore growing up. All right. Um,
Remember the first time you wore that helmet?
right.
I
All
wear
right.
a helmet. What are you
We're gonna
talking
get in
about?
trouble saying stuff.
That wasn't a helmet. That was just his hair. Come on, guys.
Oh yeah.
No, the spirits. I think U2 is the resident
Yep.
Artist.
group right now, artist. So I definitely want to go check that out one of these days. Definitely pretty cool. But yeah, excited weekend coming up. Does anybody think that the Super Bowl is scripted? Have you heard, like, have you watched some of the
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
conspiracies and kind of all of the above? Like, some of them are kind of believable, but what do you guys, what's your take?
I have to
No,
say, I'm on the fence myself. I'd like to think that, obviously athletes that tune their bodies to that degree truly are, as passionate and as competitive as we all believe they are.
Mm-hmm.
But when you see certain videos, for example, I'll give you an example, and maybe there's a perfectly reasonable explanation. So when we played the who was it? Cam Newton's team, the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
Right. He fumbled the ball. I don't know if you guys remember the play. He's going towards the ball, and then he stops like 2 steps short of the ball and lets the Broncos jump on it. Now, I mean, to me, that's a bit of a head scratcher, right? Because you're in the Super Bowl. I can't remember if they were down at the time or not, but you're in the championship game. This is the last game of the season. Are you not going to put your body on the line for that? Right.
Yeah.
So stuff like
that.
that makes me scratch my head a little bit.
Yeah.
So, like, Cam Newton, great athlete, great. I mean, he had a great intro into his NFL career, but that to me is a player who just doesn't want it bad enough. To me, that's what that looked like. I've seen a few other plays to kind of go on, but I don't think. I mean, you have somebody like Ryan Shazier who was paralyzed. I mean, how can you script that? You don't script that kind of stuff. I mean, the contact that these guys make with each other. You hear a lot of these guys, the passion they put into it. I don't think. Now, I think the NFL, I think refs, to me, are like biased sometimes. So
I'd
I
agree
don't
with
know. I don't know if that would be so much called scripting, but to say that it's scripted, there would be too many. There's too many players, ex-players, who are bitter towards the NFL who would have come out by now and said, yeah, I'm it's all been scripted. I mean, there's been a couple that have been their personalities are questionable that have came out and said something, but you're like, okay, you're a little on the cuckoo for Cocoa Puff side. So
it's like one of three things. It's like when you look at video clips like Carlos was talking about, you're either thinking, all right, to your point, Vince, I don't want it bad enough, or I don't want to get hurt because I'm too important, right? Or it's scripted. Like there's like three different scenarios that could be happening. But I've seen a few with the Chiefs recently where like a guy runs right past.
That's what I'm talking about.
Mahomes, right? He literally runs past him when he has the ball, and I'm like, what was that all about, right? And so anyway, like it's.
I mean, from my perspective, it doesn't make a difference to me. It's still entertaining. It's still good TV. It's like the WWE, right? Like,
well, WWE, if you grew up in our era.
Well, I think you'll get sued if you say that, so you're going to have to edit that. But you remember when we were kids, we totally thought it was real. Jimmy Fly Snuka, taking it to the dudes, all those classic wrestlers, and then you find out that actually it was all choreographed. Well, I mean, it was an adjustment, but it wasn't any less entertaining. I mean, I didn't stop watching it because I found out that it was scripted. I maybe football is different, but like I said, I'm on the fence. I'm not entirely in each camp. There are a lot of certainly calls, and Vince, you hit the nail on the head. Sometimes refs calls are very subjective, and you just think, what in the world is going on, right? So those things make you scratch your head, and I'm sure I'm not alone in that. I'm sure that there are others that might be watching that feel the same way.
Yeah. How about Usher being the
Speaking of
headliner? What do you guys
halftime,
think about that?
or entertainment, yeah, Usher.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm excited. It's always the act always pulls in a guest. It's always exciting to see who they're going to pull in as a guest appearance. But yeah, big fan of Usher. Dude has an amazing voice.
Yeah.
So
let me connect one more thing to the Broncos. Speaking of Usher, are you ready for this?
okay.
He was recently on Club Shay Shay's podcast, which is Shannon Sharp's podcast, and telling his story, which we know Shannon Sharp, former Bronco star, all of the above. That's a great podcast. If you guys didn't listen to that one, but it was really good, really good. Some of the
him and Ocho.
Yeah. But he one of the questions that Shannon Sharp asked him was like, how do you prepare for something this big, right? This is something that everybody remembers, different artists in the Super Bowl. Everybody remembers like moments where there were mishaps, or just the sound wasn't right, or it was just the most incredible, performance ever. And I like what he said. He said, I've been preparing my whole life for it. Like, not that he expected it. Obviously every artist wants to, but it's one of the, I love that he said, like, I've been preparing my whole life. Like, every experience that I had up until this coming Sunday has prepared me to give the best performance I possibly can in an iconic moment, in all compressed into like 10 or 20 minutes of singing. Right. And so I just thought that was super cool. His response to that. Did any of you guys watch
Make or break? It's definitely a make or break like thing for your career, or even just for your legacy and so on and so forth. A lot of things have changed for people before and after that kind of stuff. So
yeah, I don't know if he'll lose any legacy, but hopefully the sound is right, and things like that. Because he's
I know the Weeknd got
the Weeknd got
that's true.
He got done dirty.
He got done dirty. Yeah.
I actually like that show.
Because he's way better than because the Weeknd's way better than what his halftime show was. He definitely got screwed on the sound side of things.
The sound was horrible. The sound, it was really bad.
Actually, I guess that's a good question. Who's been your favorite Super Bowl halftime act?
Man, I wish I would have done a little research.
I know two that I come to mind when you said that, Vince, is of course Michael Jackson, dude. He did his halftime show.
That's probably the all-time greatest, right?
And then I kind of liked when Bruno Mars did his. Bruno Mars did really good job at the Super Bowl.
Bruno was definitely one of my favorites.
Bruno killed it. Yeah. Another classic, though, you can't forget Prince.
Yeah.
Yes.
When it was actually raining.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
Scripted.
Man.
The geostorms, like the satellites all connected, and
I like when Coldplay did theirs too. I thought they did a real good job.
Coldplay was good.
Oh,
too.
Yeah. Well, that's because it was Super Bowl 50, right?
Yeah, that's right.
But I have to tell you, so regarding Usher, I kind of feel like his best work is behind him, and
I'd agree with that.
I'm not that excited to see him, honestly. Yeah. I was more excited to see Shakira and J-Lo. Was that last year?
Jeez, I wonder why.
It was 2 years ago.
Jeez, I wonder.
Last year was a hot hit.
Is Mandy watching this?
Don't lie. That's why.
Man, you know what? I've always would love to see, and this is one of those things where I think those of us, like all the four of us, like we've always been into not only music and sound and making fun of each other and all that fun stuff, but like just the production side, right? Like I want to see that. Like I wish I can go to one of those. I would love to go to one of those big production Super Bowl halftime things where, on TV, you go to a commercial, you come back and the stage is set up. Well, I want to see it come together, you know,
I know.
and you know, the hundreds of people that it takes, the engineers that have to get it right. Like you got live sound, you've got sound coming through, you know, to a bigger audience. It's even there, right? You've got several thousands of people live, but it's also got to sound good to millions watching, you know, which is the bigger audience. And just how quick it comes together. Like I've always wanted to see that. I don't know. Have you guys ever thought about that?
I have, and I don't know if this is off subject or not, but yeah, have you ever watched like cooking shows? Like I love Gordon Ramsay shows.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh
that
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Like I love watching cooking shows. Well, like the total comparison to a chef like that is an engineer, because do you know what I'm saying? Because an engineer will like rip you apart. If their ingredients and stuff aren't right, they are like, I mean, there's no like holding back for those guys. And I always have that comparison when I'm watching those shows. It's like, man, because we dealt with some engineers who were like, I mean, it's like, okay, should I quit right now and never do this again? You know?
Yeah, no, that's a great like way to talk about that. I like cooking shows too, though. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I guess an engineer in any scenario like is really can get the heat or get the praise. I mean, even when you're at church and something goes wrong on the screen, everybody's like,
yeah,
who's in the back? Like who's pushing buttons back in there?
And then the engineer's like, I don't know, it's the board.
The slide's not there. You know, I don't know what that noise is. Like, you know, yeah. So no, that's a fun part of the entire production is, or the entire thing is just seeing it come together. We got to do that one of these days, fellas. We're going to have to figure out a way to see something live like that. Go hang out.
Get to a Super Bowl.
Yeah. That would be wild.
Only if Shakira and J-Lo play the show, then I'll go.
So it looks like we're all going as a group of guys.
Yeah.
Carlos is going to have to do some explaining.
You're not a T Swift fan? She's been
actually, I am. I mean, I'm not like a Swiftie. That would be creepy, but I do like some of her music. Absolutely. Yeah. And, you know, for what it's worth, I do think she's actually a decent human being. I got to see just some snapshots and some clips of her interacting with what's his name? The guy she's dating.
Travis.
Yeah. And she seemed pretty sincere and pretty, you know, authentic about her happiness and joy for her significant other, which I thought, gosh, you know, somebody who has as many accolades as she does in her own profession, for her to take a step back and allow her person to, you know, enjoy and revel in the fruits of their labor, I think that says a lot about her. Not to mention that, you know, she's actually a musician. Like, she plays the guitar. She actually writes songs, right? I'm sure she's got a ton of other writers that work with her, but she is like a main part of the machine, and not just because of her face, but because of her talent. And so she definitely has my respect for sure. I don't necessarily enjoy seeing her face 100 times every game. But, you know, in terms of the music, I mean, I think she's legit. And I think a lot of people are hating her, you know, just because of what to quote Mary J. Blige, what was that term? Because they're part of the hateration, you know, so it just is what it is. But I actually like her. I think she's pretty dope.
Hey, Joe LeBeau, does he sound like a Swiftie to you, or is it just me?
Well, he's like, I'm not a Swiftie, but then he went on for like 10 minutes.
Yeah. But do you know how wonderful she is?
I'm just saying, no, I mean, because, you know,
is that a Taylor Swift? That's a Taylor Swift bobblehead in the back row. I see it over there in the corner. No,
I do have a CD of Taylor Swift that Sebastian actually got, or maybe I got it for him. I can't remember, but either way, we have a Taylor Swift CD in our house. You know, it was like
I mean, you have
Senator for album.
two girls, Taylor Swift, Swifty
You
age, man. I couldn't expect that you wouldn't have
an,
that.
another Gen X reference. You have a CD.
I know.
Yeah, everybody, we are Gen X, and you're going to hear a lot of references to our Gen X history, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Speaking of,
that's one of the fun parts about what this podcast is going to be all about is not only are we going to take like topics like, hey, what's coming up, Super Bowl, whatever, but we're going to find some cool things that we grew up that I know a lot of you are going to relate to and talk about that, playing football on the street and having a boom box and cassettes and, Blockbuster and things, things that are no longer exist anymore that we lived through, pagers, right? All kinds of fun stuff that we're going to talk about. So I'm looking forward to it. Fellas. What are you guys doing for the Super Bowl? Are you guys doing anything? Do you celebrate anymore? Do you just is it another day? Do you get a little excited? Do you cook some food? What do you guys do?
I'll get together with some of the people from our church. We'll get together and watch the game, grab some wings, got to do some football food.
Do some shots.
Yeah.
I actually was thinking of heading down to Las Vegas, not for the game itself, but we have a lot of work all over the country, and I have a lot of people that I work with that I really enjoy being around out in Las Vegas. And so I thought it might be a good occasion for us to get together, for the game. But in full transparency, the fact that our division rival is in the Super Bowl again kind of takes away that motivation a little bit, and I'm not just being, sour grapes, but
I am.
It really does. I mean, it just sort of takes away from the fun of it. It's still going to be fun, but if it was anybody else but anybody in the AFC West, then I would be way happier, right? The only thing that I'll be happy about being in the Super Bowl that's in the AFC West are the Broncos, right?
Right.
I posted something the other day that said, it's not that I hate him. I just hate that he's not playing for the Broncos. Speaking of Patrick Mahomes. Because the dude is so great, he's fun to watch, but it drives me nuts that that's not our quarterback, because we've seen greatness in Denver, with John Elway, Peyton Manning, so it's like, let's get back to it.
I think he was fun to watch until there was like a slight arrogance that kind of crept up that made it like no longer fun to watch. That's my opinion. Maybe it's the team, maybe it's the season, maybe it's the whole team. Taylor Swift thing or whatever. But it just feels like there's a little bit of we got this. We're arrogant. We're number one regardless. Like I don't know. I've never really liked that.
Oh, trust me. Well, I want 49ers to take them down.
Yes. Oh, 1,000%.
So speaking of arrogance and speaking of number one,
what are you going to say here?
So my celebration for the Super Bowl was with my family. My cousin, of course, he is Kansas City Chiefs fan for whatever reason, born and raised in Denver. Kansas City Chiefs.
Now, does anybody else before you even tell that story, does it not irk you when somebody grew up here and they're not? What is that?
So like
I want to hear that story, Bo, by the way.
I don't want to get in too much trouble because my mother-in-law is a Chief.
I know.
So I'm like, I know, but I love her though.
I have.
We'll just leave it right there because you gotta love her. No matter
I have a friend that's actually friends with Mandy, my wife, and they've been friends since high school. And her husband and their family are Chiefs fans. He's originally, I think, from out of state, from South Dakota, I think. But grew up in Denver.
That makes sense, yeah.
But he became a Chiefs fan because I want to say that Denver Bronco fans were jerks to him at one point, and they were like, it's kind of like church kids, right? Pushing the Bible on you and Bible thumping you, and you just want to rebel, right? It's kind of that way for him. I got the sense that people were just trying to cram the Bronco agenda down his throat, and he actually is a very independent, obviously self-thinker, critical thinker, and was like, I'm going to do the opposite of what everybody tells me, and I'm going to root for the Chiefs. I mean, in all fairness to him, right? He was in the basement for how many years while Denver was, in the height of success, and now things just happen to have switched. I'm hoping Kansas City doesn't win this year, because every time he brings up Kansas City and how great they are, I always say, but do they have 2 in a row?
There you go.
That's right.
That's not. Right. No, sir. LeBeau, you were starting to say.
Yeah. I'm gonna play this real quick and see if it. So check this out. Can you guys hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
my family?
Mancini, that's John Cena,
man. John Cena.
Are you gonna get the video blocked? I love it.
I know.
By the way, did anybody notice how big that microphone is that Carlos has? It's like competing with his cheeks right there.
What I was going to say is that my family, my cousin, of course, is a Kansas City Chiefs fan. They always host a fantasy football contest every year, and your boy brought home the championship.
Yeah. There you go.
2023. Yeah, at the bottom right there, LeBeau.
Dude, that's legit.
Dude,
that's crazy. That's cool.
Did you wear it?
Fantasy football champion, baby.
Dude, that looks so good against your library in the back.
Real library, real belt. Dude,
hey guys,
come with it, bro. I bring it.
I wanted to kind of talk about, like, we're talking about football. Like I
Congrats,
had some great.
by the way, no.
Yeah,
that's dope, dude.
Man.
Better than the belt, cool. Like $1,000, right? Like that's funner than the belt.
But
I'd take the $1,000.
No, for sure.
I kind of want
to like I didn't even know. My family messaged me and they're like, "Hey, you playing this year?" I'm like, "Nah, I'm not donating to this year." And I didn't even know. I went when I went to the Chicago for the Chicago Bears game. My nephew went with me. And we were at the Chicago Bears game. He's looking at his fantasy. He's like, "Uncle, you're tearing it up in fantasy." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, you're tearing it up. Your team's killing it." I'm like, "Bro, what? I told you guys I wasn't playing." He's like, "Yeah, your team's number 1." I'm like, "Wait,
oh
what?"
My goodness, you're that guy?
Dude, that's exactly what happened. My team was number 1 3 weeks in, and I didn't even know, and then ended up winning the championship. So nice. Christian McCaffrey is the one that actually got me,
of course,
most points over the season.
Yeah,
that's how it was done, boys.
Vince, what's up?
That's tight.
No, I was just saying, we're on the subject of football. I wanted to talk about, like, you guys remember, like, so we went to Monaco Elementary. That's the whole Kings of Monaco podcast, where it's kind of based on, we were the kings of our domain, which was Monaco Elementary School at that time. And that's how we felt when we were there with each other as friends. But we would always go, we had this racetrack that was lined with tires around. And that was our meeting spot to go play some foosball, Go play the foosball there.
Oh my gosh, dude, I got rocked in that field one time. I remember, I can't remember. We were playing with older kids. I can't remember even who it was because
this is what I want to hear right here.
Dude,
go ahead.
I got the ball. I was running. I remember Joe always used to dive at your feet, dude, which sucked.
Me?
Yeah, you always used to do the whole. You'd curl up in a ball and just throw yourself.
You would like roll up in a ball.
You would always roll in your back,
that's notorious,
go towards
right
your
there.
Like legs, and you would like take out people's knees.
Yeah, dude, that was notorious.
Anyway, that's not the time that I got rocked. I had the ball and I was trying to run through like an older kid. I can't even remember who it was. And instead of hitting them with my shoulder, I went head first I still remember how it felt for my spine to like compress. Oh my gosh, dude! I never
I
felt
think I
that
remember
pain.
that because you were kind of
ever
after that.
Dude,
ever since then you've had that gray stripe.
You've
Ever
been
since then, you've
compressed
been-
ever since then, dude.
it's true. I really should
Ever
be
since then, you've been
6'5".
like the He-Man pop-up toy.
Yeah.
This explains a
I
lot of
think I
the
remember that.
uncoordinated sessions that we had after that, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
man.
mean-
I always want like one thing, like so my son Christian, he played football growing up, and it was so much fun watching him. But just watching the attention and the details, like between like the camps and everything else that these kids are put through now, it's like, man, where was that for us? Like, I'm gonna say this is a huge compliment to my boy Joe over here, because I'm telling you, Joe, if you were like given the opportunity, you could have gone D1 kicking. Like this dude, like he was setting up 60-yard field goals, like in practicing. And I'm like, man, if you would have like had the right coaching and everything, you could have definitely got went D1 kicking. Because you had the leg.
You didn't grow up in Commerce City. You could have gone D1, bro.
No, I think about that every once in a while because I definitely had my heyday kicking, and it was a little bit of a passion for me to boot the crap out of the ball, and had some pretty good success with that. When I was in, you guys remember CCYA?
Yep.
Commerce City Youth Association. They called me the guy with the golden leg or kid. I don't remember what it was, but it was fun, man. No, I appreciate you reminding me about that because that was fun, man.
What happened? No, nothing. No one ever approached you. No one ever came to you and said,
What happened was freshman.
Did you get hurt?
Yeah, freshman, sophomore. I can't remember if my freshman year, high school, or sophomore year. The coach had heard about me, on the senior team, and wanted me to show him what I had. And so, like the inexperienced, uncoached, Commerce City, whatever you want to call it, I didn't stretch, and I kicked the ball so hard I literally tore the
I remember that
in my quad. So if you think about like your muscle fibers that kind of coming across, I tore some of the muscles like down the center, and they kind of curled up backwards, and that was a gang sign. No, they curled up backwards. Never got it fixed. To this day, like if I flex that muscle, it kind of looks like a little bit of a lump there, and just tore it, and that ended that. So.
And ever since then, you've been known as Joe with the gimpy leg.
Yeah,
mooching with everybody.
Joe with the lumpy leg. But yeah,
that was a good Home Alone reference right there. I like it.
I remember Joe's legs were like freakishly large, and he would accentuate them with those homemade Bermuda shorts. Do you guys remember that?
Homemade Bermuda shorts, dude?
Yeah, did your mom make you Bermuda shorts for a while?
Homemade them?
No,
maybe.
I thought your mom made you homemade Bermuda. Maybe it was my mom that made you homemade Bermuda shorts. You had homemade Bermuda shorts at one point. They were awesome, but they were like, they were.
I do remember. The shorts.
Like Daisy Dukes or
no.
They were flowery long shorts.
They were like super long.
They were long, but his legs were just like tree trunks.
Thank you.
I don't remember.
No, they were super long shorts, dude. I remember they were like a Hawaiian print or something like that. It was like red and white Hawaiian print Bermuda shorts. Yeah, they weren't homemade though, I don't think.
No, they weren't homemade.
You had a few homemade ones because you cut your pants and kind of let it shred, like there were shreds. You guys remember those?
Carlos was cutting
ahead of my time.
I think everyone shredded jeans, dude.
Yeah.
Didn't everyone shred jeans then? Like Janko's shredded at the bottom.
Yeah.
Who's that? Gen Z or Gen whatever.
Carlos Carlos
you
is
guys want to call it.
I had the
Yeah.
knockoffs, Bencos.
Dude,
Yeah.
that was
Car-
those were the days.
Carl, yeah. Carlos's mom, her drapes were just formed in shorts. Like, mijo, why are my drapes looking like this?
Got them all out. Oh my god.
Yeah, man. She tore it up. That's how it was.
Yeah.
True story though. When I was a kid, when we lived in Mexico, I didn't have my own clothes ever, and we had hand-me-downs. And generally speaking, when we would get a little bit bigger, you obviously grow out of your clothes. Instead of getting new clothes, we would get modifications to our clothes. So our waistbands would have like little
Elastic stuff.
not elastic, but they were different types of fabric. So she would sew in, because there
Bungee cords.
there isn't a ton of like denim, but you would walk around with like, up near your waist, you would have various types of fabric to make sure that your pants fit. You do what you got to do to survive. So homemade.
Do you have like bungee cords on your side there?
Speaking of modified pants, dude, did you guys hear the Christian McCaffrey interviews at the Super Bowl when they were talking to him about all the things that Ed McCaffrey would do, like when they were kids growing up and so on and so forth, what Ed McCaffrey would do to his clothes, like as he played in the NFL and all that stuff?
Yeah.
He would
Ed
take
or
the
Christian?
so Ed would take the lining and stuff out of his like playing pants. He would trim down his jock strap, do like a G-string, I guess. He would cut a hole. No, I'm serious, dude. It's like intense stuff. He would cut a hole in his shoes so that way when he would stop on a route, his toes would have like a spot to like go to instead of like just like hitting the front of his toes.
Yeah.
And all that
Like
kind of stuff. Like
smashing
he was
it.
pretty intense about that stuff, I guess.
Oh, yeah, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, it was like the interviews coming from the Super Bowl right now of Christian McCaffrey, how he used to make his kid like do like crazy outlandish stuff when he was younger.
That makes sense because I've ran a few Spartan races before, and obviously you have to have the right shoes, the right gear, and things like that. And I kid you not, like there's a lot of downhill running. And so you're just like literally just making sure you don't go, you don't tumble, but with every step, your toes are like smashing against the front of your shoe. And there was one year where my big toe and middle toe, like the nail fell off after the race, because it just got so bruised and beat up, like just hitting the front of my shoe, that it was pretty nasty. So that makes sense for sure.
Yeah, he would cut a little slit in the front and the top. And so that way when he stopped on the route, his toe would have somewhere to flex out and it wouldn't hit the front of his shoe like that. Crazy stuff like that.
That is
crazy. Super Bowl.
That is crazy.
So what are your predictions for the Super Bowl? I know what we want to happen, but what is realistically going to happen? I'll start. So because the Chiefs, I mean, one of the biggest criticisms that people had for them was that they hadn't won on the road, right? They hadn't gone to a hostile environment and won in these critical environments or these critical games. Well, I mean, they obviously played in two very hostile environments before getting to the Super Bowl, right? Being, where did they play before the Super Bowl?
They played the Buffalo Bills.
They played the Bills in Buffalo, right? Where fans were throwing snowballs at them. And then they played in Baltimore against the Ravens. So I have to say, realistically speaking, and it gives me much to my chagrin, I think the Chiefs might pull it off, and I'm going to be a bit disappointed about it.
Well, I'll tell you my chagrin.
Are we all chagrining because Carlos chagrined?
That's not the right use of that word.
You see my chagrin? That prediction doesn't make me chagrin either.
I'm not chagrining.
Continue chagrining.
You know,
Chagrin.
unfortunately, I have to agree that probably will happen. I don't want it to happen, but it just seems like the fairy tale story has to happen for everything that's gone on with that team and all that junk. So I'm not. I would have to agree with you on your prediction, as much as I don't want it. Vince, what's your prediction? We know what we all want, but what do you think's really going to happen, like in your heart?
So there's a couple different factors. Just listening to just everything that's the way they play defenses, the way they play different offenses, the way the defenses play different offenses, and the way Kansas City plays defense suits the way San Francisco plays offense the best. But I understand what you guys are saying, because it's hard to bet against Patrick Mahomes, But I am going to say I think it's going to be a higher scoring game, like a 35-31, somewhere around that. I do think it's going to be a higher scoring game. I can't like say anything nice about the Chiefs.
Right.
I'm
We'll
not
just leave it right there.
I'm not chagrining about the Chiefs winning.
Well, who do you think's going to
So
win?
who
Though?
you're taking? Yeah.
I'm taking the 49ers.
Right,
I think their firepower is going to show up. I think Purdy is going to show up in this game. McCaffrey's going to score I'm predicting he's going to score a receiving and a rushing touchdown. I think it's in his blood, So
yeah.
I'm giving it to the 49ers.
Okay. All right. The boat.
So I'm going to go with, I'm also thinking that, along the lines like Vince said, with the defense is playing a certain way, offense is playing a certain way. So San Francisco's defense is going to really have to take care of Travis Kelce, dude. Like, he's the problem. It's not Patrick Mahomes. It's Travis Kelce, dude. If he's open all day long, they're going to have a real difficult time. But I think we're going to go 2-2 here, guys. I'm going to take San Francisco as well. Just because they got here being a well-rounded team all around. They have a quarterback manager, so to speak, in Purdy, not so much a superstar quarterback. And that's because they play really well as a rounded team. So that's why I'm going to go with the San Francisco 49ers. Let's go 28-14.
28-14.
Man, they're
Locks
going
it in.
to hold them
Locks
down.
it
They're
in.
going to lock down Kelce.
Lock down Kelce, do they have to?
I don't think I would dislike the Chiefs so much, because honestly, I actually like Andy Reid. I think Andy Reid is a really good coach, and I think, based on just the limited material that I've seen about him out there, he seems like a great guy. Like someone who cares about the people around him and tries to really bring out the best in those people. I like that in leadership. I like those aspects, those character traits in leadership.
Yeah.
I was also very surprised and honestly impressed. It doesn't make me a fan by any means, but to hear the Chiefs ownership speech when they got the division trophy, I thought that was pretty awesome. Just their view on spirituality, their view on their team, on Andy. That piece of it was cool, right? If those character traits can transfer down to the team, now I get it, right? When you're playing, you have to be an animal, you have to be a savage, you have to be in that mindset. Totally get it. But I feel like I would be more inclined to liking them if they had, more humility in them. Although, maybe the same could be said about, the Broncos winning when they won back to back. Maybe some of the audience didn't particularly think that they were humble about it, but
yeah. Well, I think it's possible though, because I mean, you take a team like the Nuggets. I feel like they were humble the whole way throughout the whole championship. Like, it's in their blood to be humble, to play for one another, to play as a team, to play selfless. And I feel like it went the whole way, all the way through the end. I mean, I know that's getting into basketball or whatever, but that
You're talking
culture.
you're talking about championship teams though.
Yeah,
And,
championship.
and that goes. I mean, Andy Reid is, like you said, he's a great coach. Probably he's going to go down as one of the best coaches of all time. But yeah, it's the arrogance and cockiness of the players. It kind of like, especially as a Bronco fan, kind of just rubs you the wrong way,
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I think it's going to be a great game. Can't wait to see it. Yeah.
Definitely.
We could wrap it up with this. I think I heard a podcast with Tom Brady on it, and obviously he's arguably the GOAT, right? Of players, quarterbacks, all of the above. And his assessment of this whole season was there really wasn't like a standout team. If there was, like it was the 49ers, that could have been the most well-rounded team, although they had their challenges as well. But I don't disagree with that. Like there's usually like a few teams that are just thriving the whole way, doing amazing. And everybody was kind of busted up here and there on their way to finally getting to the Super Bowl. Nobody really had standout consistent. Like they had standout games, standout moments, but not really like a consistent like season that says we've done this the whole season. I mean, would you guys agree with that?
Yeah.
It's coming from the GOAT, right?
Yeah. You were talking about when he was kind of saying that there's just been a lot of mediocrity in the game right now.
Yep.
I think so. I mean, that's why you've seen so many like so many teams getting in the playoffs that were like near 500 records this year.
Yeah.
And like everybody, there was so many teams in the hunt this year, and it was kind of a mediocre year for everybody. I think the 49ers they've been the favorites since the beginning of the season. Yeah. They kind of carried that. They had their, I guess they had their doubters at the end of the season, the first game of the playoffs, kind of like, oh, are they going to really do this or not? But,
well, Philadelphia was kind of like up there with that same expectation too.
Yep.
Did you hear Eli Manning's diss to Tom Brady?
Goodness. So funny. He's so cheesy.
He's all, I'm Eli Manning, and I'm nice. Tom Brady's the GOAT. Psych! I beat him twice.
Yeah.
It was so funny, so cheesy. Was that at the Pro Bowl?
Yeah, it was at the Pro Bowl.
That's in Orlando, right, Vince? That's where you're at, right?
Yeah, Christian and his girlfriend went to it this year.
Oh, that's dope.
Cool.
I think the skills like competitions are fun, but the whole flag football, like
it's more like just going there, seeing your favorite players, all that. But
it's not anything.
It's not a real like athletic challenge of a game type of thing.
I'll tell you what. Those skill assessment tests or skill tests are not scripted. That's for sure.
Right.
They're not scripted?
No, they're not.
How do you know?
Because, dude, when have you seen a ref run into another player on purpose during a skills competition?
I see refs running into players all the time on purpose.
Well, in NFL games.
He's talking about
that's what I'm saying.
Oh, at the Pro Bowl.
The Pro Bowl is not scripted. I see no lies.
Well, I heard one of the refs on the Pro Bowl, he was like, oh, that was a gimme call. That was a gimme call. We'll get you guys on the next one. I heard a referee tell them during the game on that.
On a Pro Bowl?
Yeah, at the Pro Bowl this year, there was a referee that was on the field, and Peyton Manning was complaining about one of the calls, and the referee comes over. He's like, it's all right. That's just a gimme. We'll get you on the next one. That's what he told Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
So back to that whole scripted referee
Heard
thing.
It here first, folks.
Questionable calls, like all that stuff. So
nice.
Yeah, guys, it's this was fun. Like I last year when I called you guys up and said let's do this, I'm so glad we got around to doing this. I just love conversating with you guys. It's even better just seeing you guys and your reaction of all this stuff, and can't wait for future podcasts. You know, guys, it's been great being your guys' friend. 40 plus years. Love you guys.
Well, love you too, bro. We're all distracted by what Carlos is reading on his phone.
Hey,
sorry, guys.
That's typical, by the way, everybody.
Am I gonna have to repeat myself? Jeez,
That's typical. Somebody might be sharing their heart, and Carlos isn't paying attention.
Heartfelt moment.
Hey, no, it's been good, guys. It's been good. We'll catch you all on the next one.
Yeah.
Peace.